Hello and welcome back to part 10 of our Spitfire Mk.XVI build. We'll be getting some proper primer down on the bird today and hopefully moving forward. In the last video we filled and sanded some of the problem areas. Now we're ready to lay down some new primer on the top and see what we've got. Again, I'm using AK Micro Primer Filler in white. I know you're probably sick of hearing me say it, but when using this stuff, use proper extraction and wear a face mask. As you can see, I'm laying down a good thick coat of primer this time, trying to get good coverage all over. Last video I mentioned about using the new paint, and here it is, MRP paint, and here we have Signal Yellow. You need to give this stuff a really good mix before using it. You can tell if it's ready when the bottom of the bottle has got no pigment at the bottom. I'm using it on the nose cone here because we're doing design number 8 in the manual, which has got like a twirly effect. I'm using the Signal Yellow to lay down a base, and then we can tape it off and do the black. Once I've used this paint for a bit longer, I think I'm going to try and do a review of it. If not a review, a how-to guide, because it does spray slightly different from your normal acrylics. I'm just going to do the tips of the propellers. We can do the black later on. I must say, thus far, this paint does go down rather nicely. You do have to use it at a lower pressure than you'd normally use acrylic paint, but it seems to go down really nice. And there we go. The coverage is pretty good as well, and it's a really deep yellow colour. What more can you ask for? Okay, so we've got a few bits now that are going to need painting black. So I'm going to paint these black, and then we need to go over them with a metal finish. I don't want them to be shiny, so I'm not going to use a high gloss black for these. And again, the landing gear, I want a dull aluminium look. So I'm going to go for a sort of a dullish black on there. I'm thinking about using black rubber here for these as well, so we can get these all sprayed up, and then we can spray the centres completely separately. I'm not particularly happy with the centre of these here. I don't know if you can see, but it's not the best in there, but we'll have to live with that, I think. This one's not too bad, but still not amazing. But I think once we get some black on it, and we'll see what happens to it. So I'm going to do some black. Here's a note to self. When you adjust the airbrush pressure on the air compressor, make sure you turn it back up again when you're doing acrylics. Here are the engine exhausts. We're going to do these in an aluminium colour and then weather them afterwards. But I want a nice coat of black down there so it doesn't look too shiny when we lay down the aluminium. And the wheel assemblies. These are going to be aluminium as well, but again, I don't want them too shiny, so we're going to hit them with black first and then go over with aluminium later on. And it's the same story for the landing gear. We're going to do both of these in black. Okay, so the parts in front of me are the ones that are going to need some aluminium adding either all over or in places. Obviously the wheel centre hubs, they'll be aluminium, leaving the tyre black. The rest of the parts here we can spray completely in the aluminium. I'm using extreme metal aluminium for this. Obviously I've switched down to a lacquer cellulose based paint now, so I need to turn the airbrush air pressure down. The trick I found with this stuff is to go on lightly and then build up the layers. With the rear wheel assembly here, it's going to be easier to paint it all aluminium and then go over with a hand brush and do the tyre black. Now I need to move on and do the centre hubs of the wheels. Can't remember who showed me this, but it's a really good way to do the centres. It means you don't have to mask off the whole area. Just get one of these cheap stencils from, Home and Bargain or wherever it may be close to you, and you should be great. Just find the right hole size, put it on top of the item you want and spray over the top. You may get a little bit of overspray, but it's easier than masking it all off at once. And here we go, all of the aluminium parts needed for the build so far. Obviously, individually they're going to need some more work, especially the exhausts before we install them, but thus far it's all looking good. I was getting a bit eager to try some of the MRP paint again, so I decided to paint the bombs in the olive green. The trick with this paint, much like any other, is build up the coach gently, but we need to use a much lower air pressure. I can already tell that it's going on really smooth and should give us a great finish. Thus far, I'm quite impressed with this stuff. Well, I don't mind saying so myself, but the finish with this stuff is pretty spectacular. I'm loving this stuff.
Oh, paint. Not enough paint. Try again.
Thanks for joining me in this episode. I look forward to seeing you next time.